This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. Friends, just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, can you dig it? You got to dig it, baby. You got to dig it. The Knicks up 3-1 over the Boston Celtics. They win tonight, 121-113. Oh, man, ladies and gentlemen, just a beautiful game by the Knicks in the second half. A beautiful game by the Knicks in the second half. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how you get it done. That's the focus that you need to get it done. They scored 121 points tonight against, the Celtics got one of the toughest defenses. The defense is just crazy. But it wasn't in the second half tonight. The Knicks got the job done. They got the job done. Big plays from everybody. From everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Big plays. And please let me know if the video is smooth, because I'm getting information from YouTube to say that, YouTube is not receiving enough video, da-da-da-da-da. So hopefully everything is cool. Please let me know everything is cool. Or if it's lagging or anything like that. But amazing win by the Knicks tonight. Right? This is like, when is the last time the Knicks have been in this position to go to the Eastern Conference Finals? They're up 3-1 over the Boston Celtics, the world champion Boston Celtics. I do feel bad for Jason Tatum. Not going to lie. But let's be real. The Knicks were going up 9, I believe it was, when Jason Tatum got hurt with 3 minutes left in the game. So it's not like the Knicks won because Jason Tatum was hurt throughout the game. No. The Knicks dominated the second half. They dominated the fourth quarter. So let's, Boston Celtics fans that's out there, if you're joining the chat or whatever, don't say, well, Tatum was hurt, da-da-da-da. No. That's not why. The Knicks were dominating the second half with Tatum in the game. But the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, were going up 9. You know what I mean? So, let's not make that excuse. And I see, it looks like there's some internet issues going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. So I apologize. Hopefully we can get everything going and it'll be good. You know what I mean? Hopefully everything is good now. But Celtics fans, please don't use that excuse. Don't try to say, it's because of Jason Tatum, this, that, and the third. It wasn't because of that. The Knicks dominated the second half of the basketball game. Bottom line, they dominated the second half of that game. You know what I mean? And tonight, the Knicks played like the better team. They played like they knew they were the better team in the second half. That's what they played like. And that's what it felt like, ladies and gentlemen. It felt like in the second half that the Knicks were the better team. And the Knicks were playing, the Knicks went to the fourth quarter with a 3-point lead, I think it was. And the one thing we kept saying in the chat, me in the chat, Tony, whoever, is that the Knicks got to play with a lead. Play from ahead. Because now you start to put a lot of pressure on the Boston Celtics, and we've seen that tonight in the fourth quarter. The Knicks were playing from ahead. Right? They were playing from ahead. And so now the Celtics had the rush. The Celtics had the force. The Celtics started to feel the pressure. And then the Knicks played some good defense and ran away with it. You know what I mean? Wasn't quite a double-digit lead. That's okay. I don't care. Just win. You know what I mean? They put the pressure on the Celtics. Now there's a ton of pressure on the Celtics. A ton of pressure on the Celtics now. Right? They got to win at home, where they haven't won a game against the Knicks in the playoffs, and probably no Jason Tatum. From the looks of it, to me, I don't want to speculate because I'm not a doctor, but it looks like that could be a torn Achilles. Right? That's what it looks like to me. Now, when things like this happen, what normally happens? People step up. Right? People step up. Somebody will step up for the Celtics. They have a lot of talent. They're a deep team. Somebody will step up. So we can't go into game 5 believing that it's done, that it's over with, that we won it already. No. And hopefully we learned from game 3 when we got smacked around a little bit. Hopefully we learned from that. You know what I mean? I don't care about winning it at home. I don't care about closing it out at home. Let's close it out in Boston on Wednesday. We'll talk about that. We're gonna get to all of that. You know what I mean? We definitely will. Just to, I don't know. I'm gonna get to a phone call because, I'm still gathering my thoughts. You dig what I'm saying? On the line, we got Nick from Jersey. Nick, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling? Got to be feeling good.
What's cool? Well, I'm feeling good. How you doing, Sam? Great win.
I'm feeling great, man. It's a great win. It's great win. Unbelievable. It's been an unbelievable playoffs, and
it really has.
Yeah, unbelievable. And for all of the Tom Thibodeau haters that are out there, you've been calling and asking and saying, when has Tom Thibodeau delivered an upset with this basketball team? Well, we're on the verge of it. We're not there yet. We still have. We still got we got a battle in Boston. There's no doubt, but we're on the verge of it. To be up 3-1 versus the Boston Celtics.
We're on the verge of it, and not only is it a upset, it would be one of the biggest upsets in New York sports history. Honestly,
it would. Yeah, it'd be Tyson getting knocked out.
Yeah, this is prime Tyson. I was talking to my buddy today. I said, speaking of boxers, I said, Boston, when they're on, they're like Ivan Drago and Rocky IV,
Right.
They're just a machine. They're a machine.
Yeah.
And the Knicks had to get up and in them to take away that 3-point shot. They're a one-trick pony. If they're not hitting the threes, they're beatable. So that's what they did here. I was actually kind of happy with the first half, being down 11 at halftime. I'm thinking, okay, let's get it to 5 by the fourth quarter. And but no, they were plus 14 in that third quarter. The Knicks have been terrible in the third quarter. Boston is amazing in the third quarter, and it just seems like they withstood the Boston runs. Every time the Knicks got close, Boston would hit free threes or something, and once they finally got that lead and things were in their control, it was great. And a lot of credit, I think, to Thibodeau for rolling with Mitch and Deuce so long in the fourth quarter, and keeping Towns and Hart on the bench. Not that they were having bad games necessarily, but everything was working with Mitch and Deuce on the court there. So I thought that was big.
Yeah, definitely. And Tibbs hasn't been afraid to make those type of player adjustments. Offensive, defensive substitutions, staying with who's hot. He hasn't been afraid to do it. It's like, whatever's going to get us the win, we got to get the win. Not caring, about reputation or anything like that.
Right, right. Usually he always goes to Hart. People make a big deal about him and Hart, how he over relies on Hart, but not tonight. Tonight he stuck with Deuce, and I thought it was essential. I thought it was essential because Deuce was playing great defense. He also hit a lot of big shots. Right. And I think the Knicks just proved tonight that they could beat Boston when Boston has a good shooting game.
Yeah. Exactly.
The narrative the 3 games was, if Boston's on, they can't be beat. If they're off, then they can be beat. Well, Boston was on tonight, and the Knicks still beat them.
And the Knicks beat them. And you know what one of the keys is? Right? Boston was they were shooting. They shot well. They shot 48% from the field. They shot 37% from the 3-point line. Right? They were probably shooting better in the first half, but guess what? They only took 79 shots overall. 48 of those
Yeah.
79 shots were three-pointers, but they only took 79 shots. The Knicks took 92 shots.
Yeah.
They played fast. And
They played fast because they were getting stops.
Because they were getting stops and they were getting rebounds.
Right.
Right.
A lot of people talk about the offense, how it's too stagnant and it needs ball movement, and I agree with that. I mean, how can you disagree with that, right? But I think people need to understand that, first of all, there's the playoffs, and Donald Rumsfeld used to say that the enemy has a vote too. Well, the other team is doing stuff as well.
Exactly.
So, and they're a great defensive team, and it's like. Whatever offense the Knicks are running out there, this isn't high school where the coach has final decision out there. Whatever offense they're running out there, that's the offense that Brunson is wanting to run at that point. That he's the coach on the floor, and that's the offense that the team is wanting to run. And I think what they're doing here is, at the start of the fourth quarter when Brunson's getting that rest, they're going to run the offense through Bridges. They've done that now every game this series, and it's worked out. And Bridges had a great fourth quarter, and the key to the offense is the defense. Get the stops, get out in transition, get some easy buckets, and I'm very, very proud of the team.
Yeah, very proud, very proud. Contributions from all over the board, and they're playing ego free. They don't care who scores, who does what. They're just doing whatever they need to do to get the job done. You know what I mean? And, what a big rebound from game 3. You know what I mean? And you could tell, in some of the post-game interviews, they were like, subconsciously, we let up because we knew we were up 2-1. Well, they didn't let up tonight.
Right.
You know what I mean? They punched back.
They played like it was game 7.
Yeah, exactly. They punched back. And, they're in position to make history, New York history.
Yeah, I want the Pacers. Revenge from last season.
Oh,
Nick should have got to the Eastern Conference Finals last season, but everybody broke down. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen this year.
Right.
We'll get a chance to face the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, which is exactly what we did 25 years ago and 26 years ago. Which is where we're supposed to be with the Pacers in the ECF. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully they close it out Wednesday. Unfortunately, that's it looked like Tatum tore his ACL. But, we'll see. He had a brilliant game and, I feel bad for him, but that's what happened. So, Knicks got the win. Tough. Knicks got the win legitimately. It wasn't just because of Tatum, you said at the beginning.
Yeah, legitimate win. I mean, they were on the way to a 9-point lead at that time. With 3 minutes to go, I think, and they weren't giving that up. I don't care.
Right.
They weren't giving it up. No way. Nick, I appreciate it, man.
Take care, guys.
Peace. Kevin said, y'all were afraid of the Celtics, and I told y'all they can be beat. I was afraid of the Celtics. I'm not going to lie. I was afraid of the Celtics. Did I believe we could beat them? I thought we could have a chance if we could play this style, play aggressive defense. But I wasn't always sure because, our aggressiveness and that was up and down all year. You know what I'm saying? But they've figured it out in the playoffs. They figured out how to play this style of basketball, and now they put it together. And big shout out to Tony. He said one of these nights the Knicks are going to have a good shooting night, and they had a good one tonight. They shot 54% from the field. They took 92 shots. To the Celtics, 79 shots. And the Knicks played fast because they don't want to, go up against that half-court Celtics defense. And that is a good strategy. You have to deal with some mistakes every once in a while. That's going to happen when you're playing fast like that, especially with Josh Hart out there on the floor. You know what I mean? But they got the job done tonight, and they played defense at the same time. At the same time, they played defense. You know what I'm saying? Great. Just We still got work to do. We know it. We have work to do because we got to go to Boston. We got to play against a team that's desperate with their backs against the wall, especially now that they're likely going to have Tatum out. Nick said he thinks it's an ACL, could be an Achilles. They're going to be a desperate team, and they're going to come out scratching, clawing, and biting and swinging and using bats and hammers and kitchen sinks and everything else in between. So we got to be ready for that. But we need to end it in Boston. You know what I'm saying? We got to take care of business. Cleveland's down 3-1. They're healthy. So, they may be able to extend that series or win the series. I don't care. I would like to play Indiana. Some get back. Home court advantage. But it is what it is. We play who we play. You know what I'm saying? We just got to take care of business. We just got to take care of business. And I see Greg in the chat, say something. Thibodeau didn't do anything. Man, get out. Go somewhere. Greg, I hate to say it. I love you, my brother, but kick rocks on that. The team, it's a team effort. Everybody has contributed to winning. So, kick rocks down the street somewhere. I want to hear it. Moses on the line. Moses, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling?
Sam, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing great.
Man,
gotta love it.
I hope Tatum is all right, man.
Sure.
Hopefully he's nothing bad. Don't wish that on nobody.
True.
But, I know what the Boston Celtics people going to say. They're going to be like, yo, Tatum went out. I don't want to hear that. Because you know what? Even if Tatum was on the floor, they were going to lose. So, secondly, I want to see Deuce get more minutes, Achua get more minutes. You know what I'm saying? And some of you guys get more minutes, so this way it could kind of help Brunson a little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
To be honest with you, I don't think Tibbs is changing a damn thing as far as, who gets minutes. You know what I mean? Right now they're winning. They're up 3-1. I think he's going to look at it and say, we're up 3-1. I think that's what he's looking at. We're up 3-1, doing it this way, and I'm going to continue to do it this way. It's hard to argue with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to argue with it. You know what I mean? He used Precious for 49 seconds today. And that was really just to spell Mitch when they were getting ready to do the hack of Mitch. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they caught on to it early. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they seen that, they looked at the time and possession and said, oh, they got 30 seconds until the last 2 minutes. Let's get Mitch out the game right now, right? You talk about making adjustments and being able to make calls, Greg, that help you win the basketball game. That right there is the type of call that helps you win the basketball game. You know what I'm saying? But seeing what their trends are, right? Seeing what the trends are, and then saying, okay, this is what they've been doing. Here's how we're going to adjust. You know what I mean?
Right.
Listen, the players the coaching has been good. Coaching's been good.
Mm-hmm.
The players have been, playing, besides game 3, the players have been playing good basketball, playing hard, and they came out and responded. You know what I'm saying? They got punched in the face, they got kicked in the face, and they came out and responded. That's what you expect from a team.
It's crazy because nobody knew that this was coming late in Boston series. Nobody knew that the Knicks were going to come into the series.
Kind of muffled, Moses. Kind of muffled, man. It's hard to hear you.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you real muffled. Moses, if you can call back, you're real muffled. We got DJ Shuttle here in the building. I know you gotta feel good, bro.
I feel great. And I wanna thank the Detroit Pistons once again.
Yes, sir.
We had this convo, didn't we, Sim? Thank you, Detroit Pistons, once again, because if there's anything we could take away from the Detroit series going into Boston, I said it then, and it's proven it's fact. the Knicks had to play rough, they had to play tough, they had to play aggressive, they had to play assertive, they had to play with attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So, unlike what could have happened if they had a cakewalk series, they
Right.
could have strolled in here on Easy Street, and they wouldn't have been in the right type of mind
Right.
frame where they needed to be to go against Boston.
Yeah.
But
Similar.
they had to work so hard against Detroit, not just from a talent perspective, just from a physicality perspective. Like
Right.
you can't replicate that. And then once you do it, now your DNA is at a different place, which is why you could come back from 20 in those first two games, which is why you could bounce back after the last game 3 and come back and play tough in this game 4 the way they did and take that commanding lead in the fourth quarter. Even before Tatum was hurt, it was trajecting as a win. So yeah, Detroit Pistons, thank you
No doubt
very, very
about that,
much.
man. They helped the Knicks. They helped the Knicks. Just that series, not the Pistons, but that series. Helped the Knicks to build some mental toughness. And
It was like a great sparring partner
Yeah.
for a boxer.
Yeah, I mean, and that mental toughness was a question. You know what I'm
Going
saying?
into
And playing against the Pistons, they knew the pressure was on them, and that they had to step up, and so they just had to throw everything, any hangups they had to throw them out the window, so they could win. And they did that. They threw it all out the window. You know what I mean? Karl Anthony Towns. I wish Josh would call in. I don't know where the brother is. Please call in, because he said the Knicks couldn't win with Karl Anthony Towns playing inside. Right? He needed to shoot threes. Karl Anthony Towns has made 1 or 2 threes in this series.
Well, I think, just in fairness, because since he's not here to defend himself, I think what he was saying was, don't make him play inside and don't let him shoot his outside shots, because shooting his outside shots is really his advantage. But as we were having an open conversation, I just said to him, it's like, well, nobody else can do it down there. You can do it the best. So you have to have you got to do it more than you typically do it for this team to have a good shot going forward against the Celtics. And he's putting the work in.
Right. He's putting it in.
He's also not getting those easy open look threes either that he got against Detroit.
Right.
Boston's definitely a superior defensive team. They switch better. Their bigs are better than the Detroit bigs. So he looks like he wants to pull, but they're on him. So he's not even shooting, and he's going to the hoop.
Yeah. He's tonight 73% from the field. He's 0 for 3 from the 3-point line tonight. 11 rebounds, 23 points for Karl Anthony Towns. But when you look at his shot selection, 1, 2, 3, 4 shots outside of the paint. Just 4 shots outside of the paint. You know what I mean? And he took 15. You know what I mean? And he took 15. Let me get to a phone call real quick.
Definitely.
All right, let me get to a phone call. And caller, you're live. Name me where you're from, please. And then after the phone call, I'm going to get to some super chats.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're live, brother. You're live. You there? Can you hear me? Yes, sir. I'm talking to you.
Oh, how you guys doing?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. First of all, I want to say I really love this show.
Appreciate you.
Made my dreams a reality by getting on here tonight.
All right. We appreciate that, brother. We appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Hello?
How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Okay, now I can hear you. I'm feeling great. I called this, right? I was talking to one of my OG homies, and I said to myself, they're going to get one of these games at the Garden. I'd rather them get game 3 and then get game 4, because they get game 4, we go into, Boston with momentum.
Yeah. You would rather who got
Only thing
game
that
3?
disappointed me about game 3 is like, come on, at least we had a chance to at least win the game.
Right.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah. So you would rather had Boston win game 3 and then we win game 4. So we have momentum going
Oh,
into
the
game
volume
4.
kind of fading out again.
Do me a favor. Give us a call back. I don't know. Give us a call back. So it sounds like he was saying he would rather he liked the way it went, right? Boston wins game 3, Knicks win game 4, so you got momentum going into game 5. I wanted the Knicks to go ahead and win game 3, go up 3-0. You know what I'm saying? And have a chance to close it out in game 4. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. 3-0 sounds a lot better.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Have a chance to close it out in game 4 and then you know.
We know some teams that have come back from 3-1, but
exactly.
I don't think we know any teams in the NBA that have come back from 3-0.
Right. They haven't. I think Boston a couple years ago, they was down 3-0, came back, tied it at 3, but lost game 7. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let me get to a couple of super chats here.
Yes, sir.
Because people are excited, man. Let's see where we at. Who's the first one? Who's the first one?
Should be.
As they should be.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Anthony Sanford, thank you for the super chat. Definitely appreciate it. He said the crazy thing is Boston played Boston basketball and we still won. They did, for the most part. I think they would rather have shot more. I think the Knicks defense really did slow them down a little bit. You know, they still shot 48 threes. That's what they want to do. They shot 37%. That's right on target with their season's average, but they only took 79 shots. You know what I'm saying? And we out-rebounded them for once. You know what I mean? You could see, like, we were getting to the loose balls, especially in the second half. We were getting to the 50-50 ball. You know what I mean? We were there. You know what I'm saying? We were getting to – that's another adjustment that the team made. Whether it's Tom Thibodeau, whoever, I don't care. We were getting to the long rebounds. For the first 3 games of this series, we weren't getting to the long rebounds. Boston would gobble up the long rebound. We were getting to those long rebounds today. You know what I'm saying? And that really helped to change the game. We were getting to the long rebound. We could get some fast break opportunities off the long rebound, but we could secure the ball. They weren't getting so many second chance shots. You know what I'm saying? Second chance threes, etc.
They had a couple in the first half that did get me a little frustrated, but overall, Knicks 13-7 win the offensive rebound advantage.
Yep.
And 92 shots to 79, and that helps to balance out the 3-point advantage that Boston has by having 13 more shot attempts.
Mm-hmm.
And extended minutes for Cat and Mitch in the lineup together, I think also helped to nullify things.
Yeah, no doubt. Jason Benjamin, thank you for the super chat. He said, facts. We took this game. We don't want to hear any excuses. Yeah, and I'm sure Boston won't. Their fans will. They might, but the Celtics know. Jason Benjamin, again, thank you for the super chat. He also felt the refs were terrible. Cat gets no calls. The refs were horrendous tonight. I mean, Jason Tatum clearly and blatantly double dribbles. You know what I'm saying? No call. They called a blocking charge on Josh Hart to pick up his 5th foul. That clearly should have been a charge. You know what I mean? And there were just a lot of no calls. You know, the Knicks were getting fouled, no calls, and Boston got away with a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of things happened. The referee was terrible.
Now, Tatum double dribbled. Doris Burke talking about somebody hit the ball out of his hand. Nobody touched that.
Was crazy. That was a straight up double dribble. That was a double dribble. It was bugging.
Doris Burke.
You know what I'm saying? Bugging. It's a double dribble. You know, Trey, my man Trey, says salute to OG and McCall with 20 plus tonight. Both were the difference compared to regular season numbers against the Celtics, and prayers up for Tatum. Both of those guys came through tonight. 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists for OG Anunoby. For Mikal Bridges, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists for Mikal Bridges. Karl Anthony Towns again, 23 points, 11 rebounds. Jalen Brunson, 39 points and 12 assists tonight. And guess what? Just one turnover for Brunson tonight. Just one turnover. That's just solid. That's just solid. You know what I mean?
I just got to double down on Trey's analysis. That is very significant. These guys against the Celtics had subpar games, and looking at them playing against Tatum and Brown, going into the season is partly what got the Knicks feeling, or the Knicks fan base feeling hype. Like, okay, they got Tatum and Brown. Well, we got Bridges and OG, plus Brunson and Cat. Like, we should be able to go heads up against Boston. And in those matches, those two guys really did not bring their A games, and they did tonight. And if they do what they did tonight or close to it, with what Brunson does, even if Cat doesn't have an A1 game, we should still be very much in it, because you can't let Tatum and Brown go for 50, 60 collectively, and then these guys are going for 15 and 20 collectively, which is what was happening in the regular season. So salute to you, Trey, on that analysis.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt. Big shout out to Uncle Fulio in the building. Uncle Fulio, I was calling you out. I need you to call in. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Karl Anthony Towns. Let's talk about Cat playing inside. Mets, I'm going to get to you in a second. Be easy. Uncle Fulio said, Tibbs cutting Josh Hart's minutes really confused Boston defensively. Before tonight, Boston dominated the play on the floor. Best game of the playoffs for the Knicks. Yeah, it probably is the best game of the playoffs for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they haven't had many games where they shot well. And they shot well tonight. The Knicks did. You know what I mean? And, thank God.
54 from the field, 35 from the three.
Yeah. Thank goodness. We finally had a good shooting night. We'll get a chance to go to Boston. The defense is going to be tough, without a doubt. But if we can have a good shooting night in Boston, they're probably going to be down a player. We're going to give ourselves a chance. You know what I'm saying? We just got to do it. You know what I'm saying? We just got to do it.
Only 12 turnovers also.
Yeah, 12 turnovers, taking care of the basketball. You know what I mean? But, 48, the Celtics only took 31 two-point field goals tonight. You know what I'm saying? And this is a way to offset that three-point shooting if they're knocking down shots. Now, they didn't knock it down at, 50%, that kind of shooting. First half, they was on fire. But then, the Knicks kept the 2-point shooting down. You know what I mean? Which is, that's good. That's good. Okay, you're going to knock down threes, then we're going to keep your shot attempts low. If we can.
And we're going to let you keep shooting them, and hopefully you'll cool off eventually.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mets, what's popping with you, brother?
Hey. Well, I'm happy for the Knicks to win this one. The big problem that they had last game was too reliant on switching, Hart not paying attention, and too much over-reliance on drop coverage in the perimeter, which pissed me off. This time they mitigated that, got up on the shooters, up on the screens, hedged the screens, iced the screens, and put Boston in their place. I didn't want the team to go out like that, but still, take a win how you can get it. Know what I mean?
I mean, they were winning anyway. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. They were winning. They were going to win the game.
Everything else I said before I got to that did make sense as what did the Knicks in last game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense. Makes sense. But they got back to really trying to push them and run them off the line tonight. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the first half, they were making some tough threes, defended threes. You know what I'm saying? They made some threes with hands in their face.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is take your hat off to them for that. But the Knicks dominated the rebounding battle, which they desperately needed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and they shot well.
We got back to what won the first two games. Even if the scoreboard doesn't acquits it. The final score doesn't acquit to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to think we outscored them 70-53 in the final half of the game,
Right.
that's a bit of a shocker.
It is
70-51.
It is. But the Knicks made it tough for them to score, and then they got hot, and then the Knicks got hot.
Yeah, whereas opposed to last game, we let them gut punch us early, and we never recovered.
Right. But you know what? We're up 3-1. The Knicks, they weren't going to sweep the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? The Celtics are a good basketball team. You know what I mean? But now we have a chance to eliminate it. We have a chance for a gentleman's sweep now. Got to take advantage of that. Get the job done.
We can't afford to get arrogant just because Tatum's going to be out for the rest of the series.
Right.
Because that's where I think Brown and Holiday, Brown, and White are going to try to step up on Wednesday.
Don't forget about Pritchard.
I mean, at this point, they've got to those three have to step up.
Yeah. Right. Don't forget about Pritchard and KP, too.
Granted, KP's been fighting a damn stomach and lung bug.
Yeah. So, they got some guys that can step up. Obviously, it's going to be a big adjustment for them. You know what I mean? They're going to have to figure out. They're playing through Brown. There's no doubt about that. If Tatum is out, they're playing through Brown. They'll have to figure out who. They're going to have to figure out how to play a little bit. But that could be a problem for the Knicks too.
Take from the bench to put in Tatum's spot if he's not able to go Wednesday. Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman, who?
I don't know what they do. I don't know what kind of adjustment they're going to make.
I mean, obviously, we won't know until Game 5, but don't be surprised if you see Torrey Craig play some minutes.
Yeah, right. Right. It could be. That could be. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what Boston decides to do. How they go with it. I don't know. Has there been any updates on Tatum yet?
Nah, I mean, just looking from how he landed, it looked like his Achilles ruptured.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
I caught a little bit of Mazzulla before jumping on in the post game. He was mum's the word. Said they're gonna have an MRI tomorrow. That's all he knows. That's all he's gonna say.
Right.
But he said, yeah, lower body injury. He got Bill Belichick tips on it.
I'm just saying, if it's a torn Achilles, he's not coming back for the rest of the playoffs. He's going to probably miss most of next season anyway.
If it's a torn Achilles, yeah. Yeah, if it's a torn Achilles. I hope it's not that. But his ankle didn't twist, so it's not a sprain. You know what I mean?
And his ankle and his leg just went straight when he collapsed on the floor.
Right. Right. It looks like an Achilles. I hope it's not a torn Achilles, but it looks like it's a torn Achilles. He was having a monster game, too. He was having a monster game.
All for it to go to waste.
Yeah. 42 points, 8 rebounds. He was shooting 57% from the field, 43.8% from the three-point line. Monster game.
The other thing I'm surprised is that Tibbs adjusted to the Celtics constantly playing whack-a-mole with Mitchell Robinson.
Well, he did. He adjusted. Right? Pulled Robinson out. And they didn't want Robinson in the game. So it's, you have to make that move. You can try to say, well, you know what? We're not going to force you to take Robinson out. But if he's not hitting free throws, you got to take him out. They didn't want Mitch in the game because he's gobbling up offensive rebounds. He's protecting the rim. He's gobbling up defensive rebounds. And he's a problem. His length is a problem for the Celtics. They want him out.
Yeah, but where they can exploit him is when he has to shoot.
Right.
Which is the 12th of never in most cases.
12th of never.
He made a layup tonight. I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
know what?
I'm just saying that in most cases, Mitch is never going to put the ball up.
Listen, we just need him to play his role. That's it.
All right.
Play his role, man.
I
Play
wonder
his role.
how much old awful coaching is going to rant on the Celtics for this one.
Say that again?
I wonder how old awful coaching is going to rant on this.
I don't know.
He's a content creator in Michigan and just basically rips teams for bad defense.
Okay. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Mets, appreciate you, man.
Later.
Yeah.
Let's go Yankees.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks win 121-113. They win the rebounding battle 43-31. 25 assists for the Knicks. You know, people were asking, you know, in the last show, you know, what happened to this team that was, you know, giving us 30 assists a game. Not quite 30 tonight, but 25 assists on good shooting for the Knicks. Right? 5 steals, 2 blocks, 12 turnovers for both teams. Knicks took care of the ball. The Knicks shot 54% from the field tonight. They shot 35% from 3. They only took 35 threes, I believe it is. 34 threes. They were 12 for 34 tonight from the three-point line, the Knicks were. 75% from the free throw line. But the Knicks dominated the points in the paint. 64 points in the paint for the Knicks. Second chance points, the Knicks 15-9. Fast break points, only 8 fast break points for both teams. You know, but, you know, the points in the paint, the Knicks dominated those points in the paint. You know, and the Knicks, you know, when you don't have KP and Horford in the game for the most part, the Knicks are going to have a mismatch inside when you got Karl-Anthony Towns. And they've got to go to it. They've got to utilize it. And they have been. You know, they've been, and they stuck with it. They didn't go away from it. When they lost the game, they didn't go away from it. When they're down 20, they didn't go away from it. You know, the first game, Karl-Anthony Towns was in foul trouble, right? So he, you know, you couldn't exploit that mismatch. But they've continued to exploit that mismatch, and you know that's what we got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we got to continue to do. We got to do the same things. We got to go and do the same exact thing on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Exploit whatever mismatch we got. My man Ron from Pittsburgh, what's popping with you, bro? My fault.
Hey, what's up, guys?
I'm good, man.
Feeling good. Probably don't have a whole lot more to add. Very happy for Bridges. I'm glad I'm not seeing as many negative comments about him lately. He is coming up big in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy had 4 steals in this game. He had a block. Came up with buckets in that fourth quarter. I mean, it's the thing, you know, with Mikal Bridges is that there are times during the season you just want to say, pull the trigger. You know, you got that 1 second or that second and a half. You're open. Just let it go. And he's always been like hesitant for some reason, and then waits till he gets guarded or he passes it to somebody else. And it was great tonight that it showed that he had the confidence in his shot that's almost unstoppable.
Right.
And I wish he could be more aggressive, even for 4 quarters, with that shot. And just, you know, the ball doesn't have to always go to Brunson. I mean, these guys are all capable of scoring. If he's got the ball, be aggressive and take those shots.
Right.
You know, you can make that shot. And
there was a point tonight during the game where Bridges, you know, really kind of carried the offense. You know what I mean? He carried the offense, knocking down mid-range shots. And while Brunson was on the bench. And it's exactly what you need.
Right.
Exactly.
And he played great defense, too.
Yeah, and he played good defense tonight.
You know, between him and Anunoby, a lot of the steals that they came up with, you know, those are the kind of defensive plays I had to make. The issue with Hart, I mean, Hart, I don't know what his plus minus was. We didn't have a very good game. Again, I wish they would not either do any bounce passes to Mitch.
Actually,
you know, every time they try doing that, it ends up in a steal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are just the basic things. Just don't give them bounce passes. You know, Put it above the rim or don't pass to them at all. Let them get the offensive rebound because it always turns over into a steal. And you hate
Right.
to see those turnovers.
Right.
But, there was a team effort. I loved what I saw on the court. I'm assuming OG is okay, but maybe not. We're not sure if it's just a cramp or if it's more than that.
Yeah. I mean, he came back and played the rest of the game. As a matter of fact, he got that nice steal to put the Knicks up 9 when Jason Tatum got hurt. And it wasn't because of OG that he got hurt. It was non-contact.
And OG slammed in it. He slammed it in on that fast break. So
right,
it can't be that bad.
Right, exactly.
And what I heard was that Donovan Mitchell re-aggravated that ankle today, and it's doubtful that he's going to play tomorrow against Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a big wow.
Big
so.
Wow.
If the Knicks are lucky and I can at least pull out one of the next 3, which I think they will, with what's his name, Tatum getting injured.
We better pull out one of the next 3.
Yeah,
we better pull out one of the
New
next
York,
3. Shoot.
New York in Indiana, championship. That would be made to order. Nobody would have imagined that. They would have thought certainly Boston or at least Cleveland, with the way they played all year long, would have been in that top spot.
Yeah,
and maybe the cards are just falling correctly,
Let me tell you what would be really, really nice for the Knicks. And I know people are saying T-Wolves, Knicks, and people want Indiana and the Knicks, and it looks like it could be Indiana because they're up 3-1. But it would be very ironic for the Knicks to beat Boston, then beat Cleveland, and then beat OKC in the championship. All the teams they couldn't beat in the regular season. That would be something. You know what I'm saying? That I think that might make it even more historic. When you look at the story of the season. But we got to get.
It would make it more historic, but if the chances are better that they beat Indiana than Cleveland if they went head up, I'd rather take Indiana. But
you know what?
I don't.
But with the way that the Knicks are playing now, we don't know if Cleveland's going to look the same against the Knicks, especially they're banged up too, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland wouldn't look the same against this Knicks team right now.
And truth be told, Indy's peaking.
Indy's playing.
Indy's peaking. While they kind of quietly crept up and got 50 wins, and they absolutely have peaked. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. And Cleveland is not playing their best basketball of the season right now. Then you add Mitchell's injury with the way Indiana's playing. I mean, don't ask for something you might not be, thrilled about later. Whoever comes, we deal with them.
Right. Right. Indiana's probably the hottest team in the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, in all of basketball.
They might be.
But, it's just great. I'll let you guys go. I don't want to take up any more time.
No, Ron, always appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate it too. Thank you.
Always. Peace. Yeah. A lot of good things tonight. One thing Nick from Jersey Shuttle mentioned it earlier. The Knicks beat Boston when they were playing well. You know what I mean? Boston was playing well. The Knicks were able to shut it down and win the basketball game. This has to boost the team's confidence. I know it boosts the fans' confidence. It has to boost the team's confidence to say we're better than them. To feel like we're better than them. You know what I mean? They dominated this game for a half. It was 11-point lead at halftime and went up to 14 in the third quarter. And we turned it up. And they couldn't handle it. And we ran away with it.
Tibbs called that timeout. Got it together.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of plays right out the timeout. And who was the announcer? Was it Richard Jefferson, I believe, that said, I thought this was some spot on, like insight which was you're losing your deficits, double digits or whatever it is. You come back, you want the other team to call a timeout first. You want to make a surge to let them know, like, yo, here, yo, we're here. You're gonna have to respect us in the second half. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. The Knicks had to call a timeout first, but they got it together, and they went on a run. Brunson made a couple of baskets. It was single digits. And basically, Boston ended up having to call a couple of timeouts, within that same quarter. And the Knicks never looked back. So shout to your coach, Coach Tibbs.
Shout out to him. And there should have been a foul called just before Tibbs called a timeout. I think the Knicks were about to get a steal. Josh Hart had the ball. Derek White tripped him.
Yep.
Right? Derek White tripped him. Boston got the ball back. Derek White hits a 3 in the corner. I think that puts him up 14. Tom Thibodeau calls the timeout.
Yep.
Then the Knicks come back and dominate the remainder of the basketball game. Kevin Bergen said the media has to be in a frenzy. They don't understand how we're beating their darling team, the Celtics. No doubt about it. They have to be. They have to be. You know what I mean? Because they can't understand it. I'm sure Celtics fans can't understand it. Now, who's the dude, Barstool Sports, the guy who founded them, he's like, I can't fathom the Knicks were up 2-0. I can't fathom the Knicks beating us. I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening. Well, it's 3-1 now. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's 3-1
You
now.
don't have to fathom it. You can read about it.
Word. It's 3-1 now. The Celtics didn't have, this terrible shooting night or whatever you want to say.
They were on fire.
You know what I'm saying? They were on fire. They were killing it in the first half.
Even in the third, they came out in the third, lighting it up. And like I said, Knicks had to call a timeout to stop the bleeding quickly.
Right. I mean, things looked very similar. In the first half, the Celtics shot 54% from the field. They still only took 37 shots. Right? 54% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. They were 12 for 24 from the three-point line. Right? They scored 62 points. The Knicks scored 51. The Knicks shot, and it looked very similar. The Knicks shot 42.6% from the field, and they shot 31.8% from three in the first half. Second half, the Knicks dominated the basketball game. The Celtics shot 42.9% from the field and 25% from three. Very similar numbers to the first two games in the second half. The Knicks, not similar numbers. They shot 66.7% in the second half and 41.7% from the three-point line in the second half. They dominated the basketball games. They still didn't have the foul calls on their side. Boston went to the line 11 times. The Knicks went to the line 8 times in the second half. But the Knicks scored 70 points. The Celtics 51. Outscored them by just about 20 in the second half. And that's with Jason Tatum playing. Jason Tatum played 19 minutes and 18 seconds in the second half. I think he missed the last 3 minutes of the game or something like that.
Yeah, close to 3 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around there. You know what I mean? Second half, Brunson had 26 in the second half. Bridges 14 in the second half. Karl Anthony Towns 13 in the second half. OG 12 in the second half. In the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum had 11 points in the fourth quarter. He was doing his thing in the fourth quarter. That's all they had going in the fourth quarter. Peyton Pritchard had 7. Everybody else 2. Jaylen Brown had 4. For the Knicks, Mikal Bridges 10 points in the fourth quarter. 9 points from OG Anunoby in the fourth quarter. Right, 8 points from Jalen Brunson. 4 points from Karl Anthony Towns. Spread out evenly. 6 shot attempts from Brunson, 6 from Mikal Bridges, 4 for OG Anunoby, 3 for Karl Anthony Towns. The Knicks played a good 7 assists in the fourth quarter, only 2 turnovers. That's how you get the job done.
4 players scoring over 20, and all of them shooting over 50% from the field.
Yeah. Right.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose too many games when that happens.
Yep. Tonight, Jason Tatum led the Boston Celtics. Went out with an injury. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but he led them in scoring 42 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. He was tearing up the stat sheet. But after he went to the basket on a fast break, not really a fast break, the Knicks scored. He came up the court, boom, sped up the court, tried to go up for a layup. Josh Hart reached for the ball, hit him on the wrist, then he fell on his wrist. His shooting got a little worse after that. Right? Shooting got a little bit worse. It wasn't exactly, it wasn't all net. It was, it was rimming. And sometimes it was rimming out. Sometimes it was rimming in. But 42 points for Jason Tatum, 23 for Derek White, 3 rebounds, 20 for Jaylen Brown, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Jaylen Brown hasn't really had a great series. He's going to have to step it up in game 5. Because even if Jason Tatum were to play, he won't be 100%.
No.
You know what I mean? He'll be struggling. Peyton Pritchard had 12 points tonight. The Knicks are in the driver's seat in the series, ladies and gentlemen, and they have a chance. They have a golden opportunity to end it in Boston. I feel like they will. I feel like they're going to end it in Boston and start preparing for this. The Knicks got to be riding high. They got to feel like right now, Jason Tatum or no, they got to feel like they're better than this team. And they should be able to the Knicks should be able to take care of business on Wednesday.
I understand that the Knicks lost all the games in their regular season to Boston. You got a couple of new players. Cat comes in right when training camp opens. Bridges is new to the team. You lost Randall. You lost DiVincenzo. It's a whole new team. So game 1 is obviously going to be very tough to even have any type of chemistry to win that first game. I believe OG was out one of the other games. So no, you didn't play great against Boston during the regular season. But when this team was assembled, games like what we saw tonight is exactly what the vision was for most of us when this team got put together.
Right.
It's not like what we saw tonight is far-fetched from what we expected when training camp opened and that Cat deal got made and Bridges, aka 5 picks, was brought over here.
Right.
This is what was expected. Matching up against the wings, Tatum and Brown. Cat being able to, get his against KP and /Cornette/Horford, and for Brunson to do his numbers versus Derek White. This is what we expected. So yeah, I know it was a rough regular season, but when the playoffs start, the records are 0-0. We talked about this, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. How big is it for the franchise to eliminate Boston?
Oh man.
This year.
Oh man. It's super. This is biggest. This is bigger. This is the biggest right now moment for the Knicks since the championship appearance in '99. This is bigger than the old DeMelo, Woodson season. This is bigger than that season even because, it was a good season, but I don't think anybody expected the championship and then team you lost to, whatever. It's Boston. It's after losing to Boston all season, every game. You know what I mean? You that multiplies this even more.
Mm-hmm.
That you're beating a rival. It's always been, with Boston for me anyway, since the 80s.
Right.
So, this is like, for me, is like rival number 1. And pack these boys up in Boston, roll them in a swisher, and get your light out.
Yeah. The last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals is when they went to the championship in 99, 2000. Last time they were, I mean, that's what, 26 years ago, 25 years ago?
They said it tonight in the broadcast at the end of the game. Biggest win since in the past 25 years. This is the biggest win in the past
Biggest
25
win.
years.
Biggest
I mean,
win.
you're on the verge. You're on the verge, even with a healthy Tatum, and you win this game. You're on the verge of being 3-1, and you got 4 opportunities to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
You can't. You're in the driver's seat. You can't ask for more than that.
Right.
And that's why you wanted to win one of these 2 games, whether it was 3 or 4. You had to win one of these games. And Doc Rivers is not coaching, so we all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Biggest, and not only the path, you can see the path. The Knicks, I really don't want to talk too far ahead. I know we have been. I don't want to talk too far ahead, but the Knicks beat the Celtics. You can see the path, right? You know what I'm saying? You can see the path to the finals.
Sam, you got to relax.
You know what I mean? But we got to take care of the Celtics first. We got to take care of the Celtics first. But you can see,
I'm your sponsor right now,
man.
Sam. You got to relax.
I know, but you can see the path. You can see it. You can see the path, but we just got to, we can't look that far ahead. We can't look no farther than Wednesday.
Yo,
it's hard not to because you can see the path, but we can't look no farther than Wednesday.
It's been too long. It's been too long. Right now, you got to get back in coaching mode, Sim. You got to respect the process.
Yeah, man.
You got to talk to yourself like you're talking to your players, Sim.
For real, man. You're right. You're right. It's hard though because you can see it. You can see it.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? But the Knicks just got to stay focused. They know it's a good basketball team over there. You know what I'm saying? They've been in these situations before. They're experienced. They just got to take care of business. Because if you take care of business and then Indiana takes care of business, you got home court advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Gotta love it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's definitely one reason, regardless of how well the team's been performing on the road, I'm gonna take home court advantage. I ain't gonna worry about what's been happening. I'm gonna take home court advantage and just
always,
whatever happens. I'm gonna take my home court advantage and deal with it. So yeah, I mean, but listen, you can't overlook Cleveland. They're one of the top teams for this entire season. Mitchell's a game time decision, and he could come back and and win 3 in a row. We can't really put it past him, just like we can't get too confident ahead of Boston. So good old coach speak. We're gonna take it one game at a time.
One game at a time, baby. One game at a time.
You control what you can control, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Any key plays or decisions with this game?
I think the timeout by Tibbs, not letting it get carried away in that third quarter, was key. I think the extended minutes playing Twin Towers with Towns and Mitch was key.
Yeah.
I think that it's only 49 seconds, but getting Precious in at that moment in time was the key time to get him in and to avoid another foul on Towns, avoid the hack of Mitch. Great out of bounds play to Towns with the slam dunk.
Yeah.
But that third quarter timeout and coming back was the key turning point of the game.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm with you. That key, that third quarter, that timeout was key because from there we dominated the rest of the game.
I think they said Tibbs' word of the season right now was reset.
Yeah. Okay.
They got to reset, and that put them where they needed to be.
Yeah. The Knicks dominated the rest of the game from that point on. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. Another comeback. It wasn't 20. It was 14. But still, another comeback. Down double digits. They just got down by too many in Game 3. Right? They still cut a 31-point lead to 20. You know what I'm saying? Another comeback from the Knicks versus the Boston Celtics. I don't want to keep winning like this. You know what I'm saying? But I
It was
mean,
nice to have the lead
but
at the top of the fourth, though.
yeah,
That was nice.
that was nice.
I'm like, okay. 10 minutes to go. Got a little 3
Got
point, 4 point lead.
4.5 point lead. Yep, it's nice.
Yeah.
And then to run away with it in crunch time too. So it didn't have to be so close in crunch time. It had to be so
Nail biter.
a nail biter.
Yeah.
You know, they were able to run away with it in crunch time. So that felt good. To be able to get a standing ovation from the crowd with, you know, a minute left when Boston, you could see that they threw in the white flag. You know, they didn't try to play it out. They threw in the white flag. Team is able to get a standing ovation. You know, it felt
That's
good.
what it's all about.
Felt
That's what it's
good.
all about.
That's exactly what it's about. Felt real good. You know what I mean? Real good.
And I gotta say, seeing the Maniacs outside the Garden, though, that's major. Shout out to you, James Dolan.
Yeah.
You're coming around, James Dolan. You're doing the cool stuff, James Dolan.
No doubt.
We like what you're doing right now.
No doubt. Player of the game for you?
Oh, that would be Big Body Brunson.
Gotta be.
Third quarter surge. He took control. He took control of the game. And then he, in addition to taking control of the game and giving the lead, he secured the lead.
Yeah.
You know,
and when Jason Tatum was going off, Brunson was matching him point for point.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was going off and we couldn't get a bucket. Brunson was matching him. On 2 hurt ankles.
Yeah, he definitely hurt his ankle too.
Right? He hurt one ankle in the first half, and then he came down on Jaylen Brown in the second half, you know, and twisted his ankle a little bit. You know, doing it on in the first half, you could visibly see him limping. You know what I mean? But he, you know, battled it through.
Which is why it's important to get this next win. Hopefully, Deuce Cam could play a little bit more minutes. He could play a little bit less. Get the win. And
get some rest.
Hopefully, Cass push Indiana a few more games.
Right.
And you know, Big Body got a couple extra days, you know, for treatment, rest, and recovery.
Yeah, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Rest, recovery, that'd be perfect for the Knicks. It'll be perfect. Whoever we have to play, assuming we beat Boston, it's going to be a tough matchup. You know what I mean? So that rest is going to be critical. You know, the next game, Wednesday, 7:00 in Boston. What do the Knicks got to do to bring it home?
We're gonna assume Tatum's not gonna play.
Right.
You have to get off to a fast start. Like, just make these guys just to kill their confidence. You know, don't let anybody feel like, you know, they could make up for Tatum not being here, getting hot like Derek White did, 4 3-pointers in the first quarter. We can't have none of that. That's what we don't need. You know what I mean? Especially respectfully from Derek White. You know what I mean? Like, you know, don't let this guy get in takeover mode. And
Right.
You know, establish control of the game from the first quarter. And you know, and I know teams make runs, but I like the team to just, you know, jump out to an early start and kick them while they down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Kick them while they
Yeah.
down.
I think, you know, they got to keep the game plan, like Kevin is saying in the chat. Keep the game plan. You know, guarding that 3. Force them to shoot 2s. They want to shoot 3s. Even on a night like tonight, you know, they shot 48 threes and 31 2-point field goals. Force them to shoot 3s, run them off the line, make them shoot the mid-range, make them go to the basket, make them do all those things, make them play how they don't want to play. Because now their game plan likely is going to be a little bit different, right? Because Jason Tatum was knocking down 3s with guys in his face off the dribble. You know what I'm saying? In the first half. Just bop, 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 womp. You know what I'm saying? With guys in his face. Everybody else not doing that. Jaylen Brown isn't really doing that. You know what I mean? Pritchard's not doing that. Everybody else is spot up shooters. So now you take away the attention getter. You know what I mean? No Jason Tatum. The attention getter is gone. Jaylen Brown, I'm not saying he doesn't attract attention. He will, but he's gonna do his from the inside. He's not as gifted as Jason Tatum, not as gifted of a scorer. So it's gonna be a little bit different the way that they play. You know what I mean?
He's their 2-point shooter.
He's their 2-point shooter, mid-range guy, exactly. You know, now I'm gonna say this. I don't, he's gonna have the ball a lot. He's gonna do a lot of shooting. I'm not trying to see Karl Anthony Towns on him that much. He's just not built to guard him. Not that he's not trying. He's just not built to guard him. He's, and when they have like tonight, there were a couple of times he was caught. He's going to get caught on him every once in a while, but he was on Jaylen Brown, and I'm looking in the game. Al Horford's in the game. Kristaps Porzingis is in the game. Mitch and Cat. I'm like, so why is Cat on Jaylen Brown? Put Bridges on Jaylen. And then they had Drew and Peyton Pritchard. Put Bridges on Jaylen Brown. Right? Cat on probably Horford. KP on Porzingis. Matchup size-wise. You know what I mean? So that Cat's not out there on the island trying to guard Jaylen Brown. Because, that's a tough cover. You give Jaylen Brown the ball and move everybody else out the way. Tell him to go to the cup.
When you have Tatum and Brown and Holiday and Derek White all out there at the same time, it's a lot more difficult to manage it from a defensive perspective. But having Tatum out the game,
right,
I think will reduce the need for the guy. Like, I don't see them doing the pick and switch as much with Brown and whoever Towns is sticking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen as much.
Yeah. So, looking forward to it, man. It's going to be, we get that win. That's a huge win. That's a huge win for the franchise. After all of these years, a huge win for the franchise. And we'll just focus on Wednesday. Just go get it. Our mindset got to be right. I think they got that killer instinct for Wednesday, though. You know what I'm saying? They should be drooling right now. You know what I mean? The mindset got to be right. They've won on the road. They've got a better record on the road in the playoffs than at home. They're undefeated on the road in the playoffs.
How about that?
Undefeated.
How about that?
It's crazy. That's championship shit.
How about that?
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. One more call before I get up out of here. We got Corey from Rochester. Corey, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
Oh, man. I'm the final call, just in time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The final call.
Well, I'm going to make this final call real, real good. I'm feeling great, but you know what? I got to send prayers to my boy JT, man, because when I saw him got hurt, I almost nearly cried. I know I'm not a Celtic fan, but I just, but as a fan, I like to show, fairness and respect for other, players on different teams.
Yeah. I got you.
I nearly cried, man, to see my boy go down like that because I want to see the series win fair and square with both players, being at full contention.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
But now, let's get to the great part. The great part was second half. Somebody said earlier today when I watched their channel, I got to give much respect to my man, Raw Hubert. He said, if the Knicks stay within 9 or 11 points, second half is going to be a whole different story. And guess what happened? Knicks came in that favor of not allowing them to go up by more than at least 17 points.
Yeah.
They played right in their favor to keep them in that striking distance. Yeah. And I said third quarter is going to be the next quarter because they've been doing much better in these third quarters against the Celtics team. And Celtics usually don't play that well when the game is close.
Right.
And, give much respect to my man Brunson, came through.
Mm-hmm.
OG, big 20 points. Cat, 23. And, of course, Bridges with 23. That's what I'm talking about. You do that, you're going to be tough to stop.
They came through. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They came through. Like Shuttle said earlier, you know what I'm saying? Our 4 big guys all scored 20 or more. Right? Brunson 39, Bridges 23, Cat 23, and Anunoby 20.
But it's
Right.
also the efficiency.
The
of what's
efficiency.
scored.
And
The
that was
efficiency.
that was being indicated since the pregame that Josh Hart, when he said they're going to look at the film and figure out the urgency they need to come out. And you know what? Thank God it did not, go back to them being up by 20. I said if they can keep it under 20, they got a chance. Because they've been down by double digits before. But see, people don't realize, I know the Knicks don't like to play down, but it's just something that they're used to, and they find a way to still come back and win. And that's not easy to do in the NBA, being down all the time and still come back and win.
Right. Especially against a team like the Celtics.
Right. A championship team?
Yeah.
Which nobody, like you said before, Tony, that they not giving us even a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And we're proving them wrong in a serious way. And then come and win Game 4, which was mostly the critical game of the series, what people had said it was. And a lot of people was right. If whoever wins Game 4, usually going to win the series. But it had to be pressure on us to do it because we don't want to go to Boston with a 2-2 tie and don't win no home games in the playoffs.
Right. Right. And that's another thing that was big, man. Just, getting a good, strong home win. You know what I mean? Getting a good, strong home win in the playoffs. We only got 2 of them.
Yep, that's okay.
But if we
the road. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, if we can continue to win on the road. And then win, if we can continue, if we can split on the road and win at home,
Yeah, that's okay. But the road is usually the most difficult part in the playoff series than it is at home, which I see.
Yeah.
What you think, Tony?
Well, this is Shuttle. We got DJ Shuttle on the line right now.
Oh, DJ Shuttle?
It's DJ Shuttle.
Oh, my bad. Salute, bro. What up? What up?
Peace. Listen, the numbers are clearly in favor in the playoffs that when you play at home, you're going to win more games than you do when you play on the road, which is why everyone wants home court advantage. But this season is the anomaly. The Knicks undefeated on the road. You can't depend on that though, which is why you needed to go up 3-1. And make sure that you had 2 games at home to come back to, and give yourself a chance to close out the series.
Right, and the only way you do that, you got to at least win one or the other 2.
Yeah,
and usually that's very critical because everybody predicts a sweep. Nah, that's what happens when other faithful Knicks fans don't believe in their team. They predicting Boston thinking they got it that easy. No, every season is different. Playoffs is a whole different ballgame. That's why it starts from 0 every time. This is not like no records of 1-5 and none of that. It's a straight up 4 wins to win the series straight up.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's the hard part.
Well, we got a chance to take care of business, Corey. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully when I talk to you on Wednesday, we're headed to the Eastern Conference Finals. But, my man, I appreciate your time. Appreciate your call.
You know that. And peace out to you, DJ Shuttle. First time talking to you too, bro.
No doubt. Peace.
Appreciate you.
Legion and the Knicks. Appreciate you. Big shout out to Legion and the Knicks podcast. I know during the game, his chat, he's always live streaming during the game. I know it had to be crazy. You know what I'm saying? I know it had to be crazy in there. Legion said, do not play with your food. Let's just finish this sugar honey iced tea in Boston and be out. That's what I'm saying. You know, we just got to get it done. Finish it in Boston. Get up out of there.
Boston Tea Party.
Word up. Finish it in Boston and be done. But Shuttle, I'm gonna head out, man. I've been up since like 4:30. 4 o'clock. About 4 o'clock I've been up. So
trying to wrap it up.
I'm ready to catch some Z's. You know what I'm saying?
We should all sleep well tonight.
Yo, we should sleep great tonight. Should sleep great tonight. You
Matter of fact, don't take the jacket off. Sleep with the jacket on.
Yeah, word up. Sleep with the jacket on, man. We should sleep great tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. We'll be on with Lucy's Lounge tomorrow, me and Tony, tomorrow night. So make sure you join us for that. All right. And yeah, folks, it's a beautiful night. It's gonna be a beautiful day tomorrow. No matter what the weather is, it's gonna be a beautiful day tomorrow. We up out of here.
Blue skies.
Orange and blue skies, baby. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.